Hi, my name is Haley Thompson. After 4 grueling years of endless studying and working, today I'm standing on the stage of Northwestern University in Chicago, clutching my bachelor's degree in business operations management. I had always dreamed of returning home to Denver, ready to pour everything I'd learned into our family empire. Thompson & Sons Premium Catering, the crown jewel that had fed Colorado's elite for 3 generations. My grandfather built this company from nothing, starting with a single food truck that served the best barbecue ribs this side of the Rockies. I believed this was my destiny. With my fresh degree and years of hands-on experience, I was ready to help take Thompson & Sons to the next level, maybe expand to other states, modernize our booking systems, streamline our supply chain. But just 3 days after coming home, while searching Dad's office for our insurance policy to help a client with an event claim, I stumbled upon a truth that shattered every dream I'd built. Hidden in a locked filing cabinet was a folder marked Succession Planning, Confidential. My heart hammered against my ribs as I opened it. There, in black and white legal text, was the complete transfer of Thompson & Sons Premium Catering to my younger sister Bree, effective on Dad's 50th birthday, just 8 months away. Not a single line mentioned my name. Not one clause acknowledged the 60-hour weeks I'd been working since high school, the weekends I'd missed with friends to prep for massive wedding receptions, the burns on my arms from industrial ovens, or the college summers I'd spent managing vendor relationships instead of internships. But it got worse. Much worse. A separate section titled Staff Restructuring Plan outlined the termination of non-essential personnel after Bree's takeover. There was my name, clear as day, Haley Thompson, position, kitchen manager status, terminated timeline, 6 months post-transfer to allow new leadership to establish independent management style. They'd been planning to fire me. Their own daughter. While I was busting my back to keep our biggest clients happy, they were already writing me out of the story. When I confronted Mom that evening, her response cut deeper than any knife in our commercial kitchen. She barely looked up from her crossword puzzle, her voice flat and dismissive. "You're good with your hands, Haley, but you don't have the head for business. Bree has the vision, the charisma clients want to see. You should be realistic about your limitations." That night, I couldn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw those cold words, position, terminated. I heard Mom's voice echoing, "You don't have the head for business." Have you ever poured your soul into something, sacrificed everything for people you loved, only to discover they saw you as nothing more than expendable help? If you have, I need to know I'm not alone in this. Tell me where in the world you're listening from, because what happened next changed everything. From that moment, I knew I wasn't just the undervalued daughter anymore. I was the one holding evidence of their betrayal. And I was about to show them exactly how much head for business I really had. Let me take you back to understand how I ended up in this nightmare. From the time I could barely reach the prep counters, my role in the Thompson family was crystal clear. I was the worker, not the star. While other kids spent summers at camp or learning to drive, I was in our industrial kitchen by 5 a.m., prepping vegetables for 100-person wedding receptions. My hands were constantly stained yellow from turmeric, scarred from mandolin cuts, and reeking of garlic no matter how much I scrubbed. But to my parents, this wasn't child labor, it was character building and learning the family trade. Bree, on the other hand, got the princess treatment from day one. When she turned 16, Mom and Dad bought her a gleaming white BMW with custom leather seats and the license plate BRIEBE. Meanwhile, I was driving Grandpa's beat-up Ford pickup that smelled permanently of barbecue smoke and had a broken air conditioner. The divide became even more obvious in high school. While I was working every weekend managing our catering staff, making sure events ran smoothly, and learning every aspect of the business from inventory to customer service, Bree was attending business leadership camps in Aspen, taking professional photography classes to elevate our brand presence, and networking at Denver's Young Entrepreneur Meetups. At family dinners, the conversation always revolved around Bree's latest achievement. Bree just landed us a feature in Colorado Lifestyle magazine, Mom would beam. She's got such a natural eye for presentation. Meanwhile, nobody mentioned that I was the one who'd worked 16-hour days to execute the elaborate 7-course dinner that actually got us that magazine feature. When Bree started her Instagram account at Bree Thompson Eats, suddenly she was the face of the family business. She'd swoop into the kitchen right as we finished plating a gorgeous spread, snap a few photos with her ring light and professional camera, then disappear back to her room to edit content. Her posts would get thousands of likes, with captions like "pouring my heart into every dish we create at Thompson & Sons." Hashtag family tradition, hashtag from our kitchen to yours. The comments were always the same, you're so talented, Brie. Can't wait to book you for my wedding. Such an inspiring young entrepreneur. What they didn't see was me, covered in flour at 3 a.m., hand-rolling pasta for a corporate event. They didn't see me negotiating with suppliers when beef prices spiked, saving us thousands of dollars. They didn't see me training new kitchen staff, managing food safety protocols, or staying late to perfect new recipes. When I got into Northwestern's business program, I thought things might finally change. Now they'll see I'm serious about this company, I told myself. But even then, every holiday break meant immediately returning to unpaid kitchen duty while Brie got to focus on building our social media presence, which meant posting food photos and attending Instagram-worthy events around Denver. I remember one particularly brutal New Year's Eve when we catered 3 different parties. I worked 22 hours straight, coordinating between venues, managing staff, and ensuring every detail was perfect. The next morning, Brie posted a highlight reel of behind-the-scenes footage, 30 seconds of her arranging garnishes, with a caption, "So grateful to be part of creating magical moments for our clients." The post went viral. 50,000 views. Dad printed it out and hung it in the office. I was invisible, but I kept believing that hard work would eventually speak louder than Instagram likes. I had no idea how wrong I was. That Sunday was supposed to be our regular family dinner at Mom and Dad's house in Cherry Hills Village, the same dining room where we'd celebrated every major milestone, argued over holiday plans, and shared countless meals around Grandpa's handcrafted oak table. But this time, I came armed with ammunition. I arrived early, not to help Mom set the table like usual, but to plant myself strategically in the dining room. In my purse was a complete printed copy of that succession plan, every page of evidence that exposed their secret plot. I felt oddly calm, the way you do before walking into a job interview you've rehearsed 100 times. Brie breezed in first, wearing a trendy rust-colored jumpsuit and carrying her phone, probably posting Instagram stories about Sunday family vibes. Mom followed with her famous honey-glazed ham, Dad behind her with a bottle of wine from their collection. The usual small talk began, Brie's latest brand partnerships, Dad's golf game, Mom's book club. But when everyone had settled into their seats, I reached into my purse and placed the thick folder directly in the center of the table, opening it to the first page where Succession Planning Confidential was printed in bold letters. The chatter died instantly. Brie glanced down, her perfectly penciled eyebrows knitting together. Dad froze with his wine glass halfway to his lips. Mom's fork hovered over her salad, her face going pale. "Does anyone want to explain," I said, my voice steady as a rock, "why my name appears under staff termination in your little secret plan?" Dad set his glass down carefully, folding his hands like he was about to deliver bad news to an employee. "Haley, sweetheart, this is just business planning. It's not personal. Brie needs security for her future, and you're young, you have other opportunities ahead of you." I let out a short, bitter laugh. Other opportunities? I've been working here practically full-time since I was 15. 65 hours a week during college breaks. I know this business inside and out. The suppliers, the clients, the recipes, the logistics. And in your eyes, I'm just disposable. Mom finally spoke, her voice taking on that condescending tone I'd heard my whole life. "You're skilled in the kitchen, honey, I won't deny that. But running a business requires vision, marketing savvy, the ability to connect with clients. Those are Brie's strengths. And that's why you secretly planned to strip me of everything and fire me like some random employee?" I turned to look at Brie, who'd been unusually quiet. "What do you think about this, sis?" Brie shrugged, a slight smirk playing at the corners of her mouth. "Look, Haley, you're great at the cooking and organizing stuff, but you don't get the big picture. Social media, branding, customer experience, that's what drives business now. You should be realistic about where you fit." Her words hit like a slap. I stared at my sister, this person I'd covered for countless times, whose messes I'd cleaned up, whose success I'd literally cooked into existence, and realized she felt nothing. No guilt, no gratitude, no sisterly bond. Just cold calculation. I stood up slowly, gathering the papers. "You're right about one thing. I should be realistic. And the reality is, I don't owe this family anything anymore." The silence that followed was deafening. For the first time in my life, I had their complete attention. After that explosive Sunday dinner, I knew I couldn't just storm out and slam the door forever. That would be emotional, satisfying, and completely stupid. If I was going to leave Thompson & Sons, I needed to do it strategically, taking everything that was rightfully mine and leaving them scrambling to figure out how much they'd actually relied on me. So I went back to work Monday morning like nothing had changed. Same worn jeans, same stained apron, same friendly greeting to our kitchen staff. But underneath the familiar routine, I was executing a carefully planned operation. First, I started systematically copying every recipe, supplier contact, client preference list, and operational procedure I developed over the years. These weren't just company documents, they were my innovations, my relationships, my expertise that I'd built through sweat and burned fingertips. I uploaded everything to my personal cloud drive, the secret spice blend ratios for our signature barbecue sauce, the detailed prep schedules that made our massive events run smoothly, the vendor price sheets I'd negotiated personally. Next, I began reaching out to the network I'd quietly built over the years. I called Marco, our head supplier at Rocky Mountain Specialty Foods, who'd always set aside the best cuts of beef for me because he knew I'd use them perfectly. I texted Cheryl, the event coordinator at the Broadmoor Resort, who'd specifically requested me to oversee their high-profile galas. I messaged Luis, the freelance sous chef who'd worked with me on countless weddings and knew my systems better than anyone. Their responses were identical, excitement about me going independent, and promises of continued partnership. "Haley, I don't work with Thompson & Sons," Marco told me over coffee in Lodo. "I work with you. If you leave, my business follows you." But the golden opportunity came from an unexpected source. Patricia Caldwell, owner of Caldwell Event Management, Thompson & Sons' biggest competitor in Colorado, had heard about my situation through industry connections. We met at a sleek downtown cafe, where Patricia got straight to the point. "I want to launch a premium catering division. I need someone with your skill set and client relationships to head it up. Are you interested?" She slid a contract proposal across the table. Head of Culinary Operations, $85,000 starting salary, 25% profit sharing on the new division, full creative control over menus and kitchen management. I read the numbers twice, feeling like I'd just stepped out of a cramped closet into a mansion. But I didn't sign immediately. I needed time to finish my exit strategy at Thompson & Sons, to make sure that when I walked away, I took everything I'd earned and left them with the full consequences of their betrayal. For the next 3 weeks, I maintained perfect performance while secretly preparing my departure. I completed every catering job flawlessly, trained the junior staff on procedures they'd need to know, and kept detailed records of upcoming events, all while knowing these would be my final contributions to the family business. During quiet moments after service, I'd stand in our kitchen looking around at the stainless steel workstations, industrial ovens, and walk-in coolers that had been my second home for so many years. This place held countless memories, some bitter, but many genuinely good ones with the hard-working staff who'd become like family to me. But I also knew that if I stayed, I'd always be seen as just the cook, never the leader. And I'd promised myself that when I left, it wouldn't be as a victim begging for recognition. It would be as an equal, ready to compete. I chose my moment with surgical precision, Friday afternoon at 3 p.m., the last Friday of March. All the weekend events were fully prepped, most of the staff was cleaning up to head home early, and Dad would be in his office doing end-of-week paperwork. Perfect timing. I walked through the kitchen one last time, past the familiar sounds of dishwashers running and the lingering aroma of our signature barbecue rub. In my hand was a crisp white envelope containing my resignation letter, typed on Thompson & Sons letterhead in a final touch of irony. Dad looked up when I knocked and entered his office. He was hunched over invoices, his reading glasses perched on his nose, looking every bit the hard-working business owner he'd always been. For a split second, I almost felt sorry for what I was about to do. "What's up, kiddo?" he asked, using the nickname that once made me feel special and now just reminded me of how they'd never seen me as an adult. I stepped forward and placed the envelope squarely on his desk. "My resignation. Effective immediately." His face went through a series of changes, confusion, disbelief, then dawning panic as he tore open the envelope and scanned my letter. When he realized I wasn't bluffing, his voice cracked slightly. "Haley, you can't be serious. We've got the Morrison wedding tomorrow, the tech company launch party Sunday, and the charity gala next week. These are huge events." I stood perfectly still, my hands relaxed at my sides. You've been planning to push me out anyway. I'm just saving you the trouble of waiting. He shot up from his chair, desperation creeping into his voice. Listen, honey, maybe I've been too focused on the business side of things. If you stay, we'll make you a partner. Equal share with Bree. We can work together as a real family business. I looked directly into his eyes, the same green eyes I'd inherited, the same eyes that had watched me work countless unpaid hours without ever truly seeing my value. You made your choice years ago. So did I. I turned and walked out, leaving him alone with my letter and the weight of what it meant for their weekend from hell. Within hours, chaos erupted. The Morrison wedding alone required precise coordination between 6 different prep stations, specialized dietary accommodations for the bride's celiac disease, and a complex timeline I'd spent weeks perfecting. Without me there to guide the process, the kitchen staff was lost. Luis, our best sous chef, called me that evening. It's a disaster, Haley. Nobody knows your spice ratios for the signature sauce. Bree tried to take charge, but she doesn't even know how to work the industrial mixer. They're talking about calling the Morrison wedding off. By Sunday night, I heard through the grapevine that Thompson & Sons had indeed cancelled 2 major events, refunding deposits and dealing with furious clients who'd been planning these occasions for months. Bree, apparently, had posted an Instagram story about unexpected challenges leading to new opportunities, which only enraged clients further when they saw it. Meanwhile, I was spending my weekend finalizing details for my new position at Caldwell Event Management, reviewing our launch strategy, and designing menus that would showcase everything I'd learned but never been credited for. The phone calls from my family started Monday morning. I let every single one go to voicemail. The press release went live on Tuesday morning, just 4 days after I'd walked out of Thompson & Sons. Caldwell Event Management launches premier culinary division with award-winning chef Haley Thompson. The announcement featured photos of dishes I'd created, the herb-crusted Colorado lamb with mountain berry reduction, the signature smoked brisket that had made Thompson & Sons famous, the delicate wedding cake alternatives I'd developed for couples wanting something unique. Every image carried the caption, created by executive chef Haley Thompson, formerly of Thompson & Sons Premium Catering. Within hours of the news breaking, my phone was buzzing non-stop. The Broadmoor called first, asking if I could take over their upcoming corporate retreat catering. Then came calls from 3 different wedding venues, 2 country clubs, and the Denver Art Museum. All of them said the same thing, we work with you, not just the company name. By the end of the week, our new culinary division was booked solid for 2 months, with contracts worth over $400,000. Meanwhile, Thompson & Sons was hemorrhaging clients faster than a burst pipe. But the real death blow came from Bree herself, in the form of pure hubris and social media obsession. Desperate to prove she could lead the company through this crisis, Bree decided to throw money at the problem with a massive rebranding campaign. She hired a trendy marketing agency from Los Angeles, the kind that charges $50,000 for a single commercial and promises to make your brand go viral. The resulting video was everything you'd expect from someone who'd never actually worked in a professional kitchen. Gorgeous models in pristine white chef coats barely touching perfectly plated food, slow-motion shots of artfully arranged ingredients, dramatic lighting that made everything look like a perfume commercial. The tagline was Thompson & Sons, where tradition meets innovation. There was just one problem. Half the dishes featured in the video weren't even Thompson & Sons recipes. They were elaborate creations from high-end restaurants in New York and Los Angeles, styled to look impressive but bearing no resemblance to what the company actually produced. The food industry in Denver is smaller than you'd think, and professional chefs notice these things. Within 24 hours of the video's release, the Colorado Culinary Guild had started a forum thread titled, Spot the Thompson & Sons Fakery. Food bloggers began posting side-by-side comparisons, pointing out that the signature lamb dish featured in the video was actually a recipe from a James Beard Award winner in Chicago, and the artisan bread selection was clearly from a French bakery in Boulder. The backlash was swift and merciless. Food and Wine magazine's Denver correspondent published a scathing piece called, When Marketing Replaces Mastery, the Thompson & Sons Controversy. The article quoted several industry professionals, including Marco from Rocky Mountain Specialty Foods, who confirmed that I had been the creative force behind most of Thompson & Sons' acclaimed dishes. Within 2 weeks of that disastrous video launch, Thompson & Sons lost 8 major clients, including their biggest corporate account, a tech company that had been planning a $200,000 product launch celebration. The company's Yelp reviews plummeted as former clients posted about their disappointing experiences with the new management. Suppliers began demanding payment up front. Staff members started quitting for more stable jobs. The phones that once rang with new bookings now only brought complaints and cancellation requests. Meanwhile, at Coldwell, I was thriving in ways I'd never imagined possible, creating innovative menus and leading a team that actually respected my expertise. 4 months after that catastrophic marketing video, Thompson & Sons Premium Catering filed for bankruptcy. The news hit the Denver Business Journal with a headline that felt surreal: 3-generation family catering business closes after financial collapse. I learned about it the same way everyone else did, through social media. But instead of feeling vindicated, I just felt empty. This business had been my grandfather's legacy, built from his dreams and decades of hard work. Watching it crumble because of pride and poor decisions was heartbreaking, even after everything they'd done to me. The liquidation auction was held on a gray October morning. I arrived early, not out of nostalgia, but because there were specific items I wanted, tools and equipment that had trained my hands, that had been part of my daily routine for so many years. The industrial stand mixer that had churned through thousands of batches of dough. The custom knife set that Grandpa had given me for my 16th birthday, engraved with future chef Thompson. The cast iron skillets that had seasoned perfectly over years of use. I bought them all for a fraction of their worth, while strangers picked through the remnants of what had once been Denver's premier catering operation. Dad approached me as I loaded my purchases into my truck. He looked smaller somehow, wearing a faded polo shirt instead of his usual business attire. His voice was hoarse when he spoke. "Haley, I know we messed up. If you come back, you can have the whole thing. We'll rebuild it together, make it bigger than before." I looked at this man who had raised me, who had taught me to work hard and take pride in what I create, but who had never quite learned to see me clearly. "Dad, I already rebuilt. Just not with you." Mom appeared beside him, her eyes red-rimmed, looking older than I'd ever seen her. "We're proud of what you've accomplished, honey. We always were, we didn't know how to show it properly." For a moment, I was tempted to point out all the ways they could have shown it: equal treatment, recognition for my work, inclusion in their planning, basic respect for my contributions. But standing there among the scattered pieces of our family legacy, I realized I didn't need to say it anymore. "They knew. I appreciate that," I said simply. "But I'm not the same person who needed your approval anymore." As I drove away, I caught a glimpse of them in my rearview mirror, standing together in the empty parking lot, looking lost among the industrial equipment that had once been the foundation of their dreams. 6 months later, my culinary division at Coldwell Event Management became so successful that Patricia made me a full partner. We rebranded as Coldwell & Thompson Premium Events, and my name finally appeared on business cards, menus, and marketing materials where it belonged. I still use Grandpa's knives every day, still follow some of his old recipes, still carry forward the parts of the Thompson legacy that meant something real. But now I do it on my own terms, in partnership with people who value what I bring to the table. Sometimes the best way to honor your family's legacy isn't by staying in their shadow, but by stepping into the light and showing them what you were always capable of becoming. If you've ever felt overlooked, undervalued, or written off by the people who should have believed in you most, remember this: your worth isn't determined by their recognition. Sometimes the greatest gift they can give you is underestimating you, because that's when you discover just how much you're truly capable of achieving on your own.